Wide Awake in South Mississippi is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is the story of Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother, Kobe Bahanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is now available on Amazon. The Wide Awake in South Mississippi podcast is hosted by Anthony Allen. If you have a news story, or if you are a political candidate and want to get on the show, please give me a call at area code 904-860-2502. All right, y'all. Part 3 of this. There is somebody or a group of somebodies that are just as much to blame for the situation that the jail system is sitting in Harrison County that I have not mentioned. That would be the state legislature and the Mississippi Department of Corrections. Let me give y'all a little bit of back history on this. In 2020, the Mississippi Department of Corrections suffered an outbreak of riots. And I mean a complete outbreak of riots statewide. Gangs were at each other's throats. I believe it started in Wilkerson County, then made its way up to Parchman, and then eventually spread throughout the state like a plague. And it came down to living conditions, dirty officers, inmates being allowed to run the facilities, and so on. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, and a few other well-known celebrities have actually sued the state of Mississippi and the Mississippi Department of Corrections due to poor conditions in the correctional facilities in the state. Because of that, the Mississippi Department of Corrections had to shut down a couple of their units and a few of their facilities. One such casualty of this was Unit 29 at Parchman, which was basically their confinement unit. So, being that the Mississippi Department of Corrections doesn't have a place to house inmates, a lot of your convicted felons are still sitting at county jails instead of going to Central Mississippi Correctional Facility up there in Pearl and getting classified and dispersed throughout the state from there. Harrison County, last count that I knew of, had over 200 state felons in custody. They've been convicted. They're awaiting transport to prison. They're not getting transported. That's 200 beds that could be opened up for the jail. In addition to the 140 I mentioned in a previous episode about the work camp. So that's roughly 200 beds that can be opened, and they're not being opened. They're not being opened because the Mississippi Department of Corrections is not trying to lock anybody up. Yet again, depriving everybody of justice for crimes committed against them. Do you see how all this is relative? This goes back to what I said about polite society. We want to keep it a polite society. We lock our criminals up when they violate the law. So in the state of Mississippi, where they're trying hard not to lock up anybody for a felony, not a misdemeanor, felony, substantially worse, we have a problem. So now we have overcrowding at our county jails from housing convicted felons who should be sent up the road. Do y'all not have an issue with this? This goes beyond just the Board of Supervisors' mismanagement and goes beyond the sheriff's stupidity. This goes to the state. Right now, we have a man running the Mississippi Department of Corrections by the name of Burl Cain. Burl Cain was fired from being the warden of Angola in Louisiana, the Louisiana State Penitentiary over there, for public corruption, yet the state legislature gave him the job being the commissioner over the Mississippi Department of Corrections. Says a lot about Mississippi being the most corrupt state in the union, right? I hate to admit that, but it's true. We're allowing this collectively. And nobody in the media is saying anything about this. Nobody in the newspapers is saying anything about this. Why? This is a major news story. This is putting people at risk. Again, keep in mind, Harrison County at the main facility houses 760 head of inmate. There's places in Mississippi that house substantially less than that. Look at Greene County, for example, the Greene County jail, not the prison up there, the jail. Granted, Greene County has a fraction of the population of Harrison County. As a matter of fact, I probably have more people in my neighborhood within a couple of miles of me than the entire county up there does. But that's neither here nor there. This goes from the state to the county, and it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Again, I did most of my time in corrections in Florida. Granted, in Florida, we had a $2 billion budget, probably more now. 50 major institutions, 26,000 correctional officers, 102,000 inmates in custody in those facilities. These are convicted felons. Granted, they also have a lot more money than Mississippi does, but that's not the point. We need to do something. We are in a crisis in this state. We need to fix this. If we want to continue to live in a civilized society of laws, we need to have consequences for those who violate those laws. If you give a convict an inch, he's going to steal a mile and then some. I know this from personal experience. I know this from professional experience. It's an easy task. The other part of it is that I want to mention is the mental health aspect. State of Mississippi has a deficit when it comes to budgeting for mental health. We don't care. We don't think about it. That's a problem. 90% of criminals suffer from some form of mental illness. Roughly 90%, either naturally aspirated, or naturally caused, like they're born with it, or through chemical dependency, or from just a life in their environment that sent them to jail. We need to do something about that too. But I don't hear any politician talking about that. None whatsoever. Why? It's a major issue. It's a public health issue. It's a public safety issue. I'm not saying we need to be like California where we give them needles if they want to go shoot up or something. That's the wrong approach. But we need to put more money toward these facilities. Try to get some of these people some help. A lot of them need inpatient treatment. That's why they're on drugs. They don't want to deal with society. So they get high. And then they can't keep a job because they're high, so they go steal some stuff, and you can't even lock them up when they do. Is that not a problem for everybody else? Because it sure is for me. I'm the kind of guy, I don't care what you put in your body, but you're not going to steal from me without consequences to get what you're going to put in your body. Example, I smoke cigarettes. I'm smoking one right now. But if I couldn't go buy a pack of cigarettes, you think I'm going to go steal from my neighbor to go pawn something to go get that pack of cigarettes? No. And cigarettes are highly addictive. Because I was raised with morals. I was raised that that's not how you do things. This goes back to circling back to doing things the right way. Protect the public. That's your job. Protect the interest of those who pay your salary, the taxpayer, me, you if you're listening and you live in Mississippi or you live in Harrison County. Y'all, we've been failed. We have been failed for years, and it's time to stop. Y'all have a good day.